Morning guys, Andy Adding here again. Just want to talk about QBA session number 11. So we're going to warm up as per normal and then we're going to go into our throwing program, which is pretty straightforward. There is actually pitches long toss on the session plan. I think it may have actually been on there once or twice before, but I'm not sure that I've mentioned it to you. Pitches long toss, if you want to use that, is basically where as they're playing catch and warming up and starting to stretch back, they go through their pitches action, and when they get to the high point of their leg kick, they stop and balance for 3 seconds, and then they turn their eyes and pick up their target, throw, and then finish balanced over their front side with the back foot up towards the sky. So basically, if you're balanced at the start, balanced at the end, the movement through the middle should be controlled. So what we're trying to do is see how far they can progress back and keep their body under control and be able to maintain that balance through their follow through. So they'll basically do 5 successful throws where they hit their target and they stay balanced. And if they get 5, they then progress to the next distance. Same thing, if they get 5 there, they progress back to the next distance and so forth until we basically use it as a measuring stick as to how far that they can throw with good control of their body. Individual defense. I think the skills that we're rotating through are stuff that we've all done before, so remember to reinforce those particular skills. But for instance, like with the infielders and outfielders, if you want to take some routine ground balls in conjunction with the skill for this week, which is slow rollers, you're welcome to spend a little bit of time just getting some routine ground balls and then reinforce what we've covered so far in terms of slow rollers. Same thing with the outfielders. I think it's communication and balls in the sun or something like that. So if you want to make sure that they get some routine fly balls and some opportunities to deal with some of those balls in the sun. And then we're back onto a sim game again, so simulated game. Pitchers are going to throw 30 pitches each. This week they're throwing both fastballs and change-ups, hopefully with fastballs in excess of 80% for strikes and change-ups at least 70% for strikes. Hitters are taking live at-bats against the pitchers, and we're recording the number of hard hit balls from the number of at-bats that they get. And base runners, if you've got spare base runners or spare guys in the group that can run the bases and read some balls off the bat from any base, that would be good. Again, depending on your numbers, if you've got enough for 2 teams and just play it as a game, that's great. If you don't quite have that, you have 2 teams in the field and 1 team hit and then rotate your way around through. Or if, I guess, the quality of the game deteriorates a bit, i.e. you don't have pitchers that necessarily throw enough strikes, it can really slow the game down a little bit. So what potentially you could do, because this is, with the exception of the Gold Coast tonight, this is a Saturday session. If you do have other resources available like cages, tees, flip drill, or another field, for instance, you could even, rather than having the whole group stand around while pitchers can't throw strikes, you could have, for instance, a pitcher throw to the hitter and have everybody else working on something else. So you could have a group hitting in the cage, a group hitting on, or doing some extra work defensively on field 2 or something like that. So that's another way to go. Again, I'll leave that up to the discretion of the session coordinators to work that out based on your numbers and based on how the pitching is going. But we really need to encourage the pitchers. They've got to be throwing strikes. It's obviously an important part of the game. We need to get in there and pound the zone. So this is part of the process. If they can't throw strikes, it really holds up the rest of that session. So again, as we always would, make sure that you adjust and adapt the session accordingly. If guys aren't throwing enough strikes, and we either change the pitcher over, get the guy working in the bullpen, or adjust the session somewhat so that guys aren't standing around doing nothing. So that's pretty straightforward. And then we've got some conditioning at the end, and that's also something that I think we're the LTAD stuff, so the 7 streams. One last thing I wanted to touch on, I just want to throw out a bit of a reminder. Everything's been going along pretty good, but I just want to make sure you guys understand that as coaches, we've got to be really careful about what we say and do at all times. Just be conscious that we're dealing with a really broad range of ability levels. We're dealing with a real broad range of age groups, maturity levels, both genders, and obviously there are parents around as well. So you really need to be conscious of what you say and what you do at all times. So just make sure that any conversation or whatever that's going on is absolutely 100% appropriate. So we're not going to touch on anything, that could be, misconstrued or deemed as inappropriate. And if you need to touch an athlete in any way, you need to make sure that it's absolutely appropriate, and it's obviously not. It's something that they will be very comfortable with. If there's any question of any doubt, then obviously don't do it. If you can communicate well enough, you really shouldn't have to. But if by chance you do have to, just make sure that they are well and truly comfortable for it. Again, it's just a reminder to make sure you guys stay on top of things, because with such a broad group that we have, sometimes things can be misconstrued or misunderstood, or make people uncomfortable, and sometimes you don't even think about it at the time. So we just need to be careful of that. Otherwise, all's going well. If you have any issues, give me a buzz. I'm actually off to Japan for a couple of weeks, but if there's any issues in relation to this program, your communication will now go through Shane Watson in the BQ office. So any issues, give him a buzz. Otherwise, I will catch you guys shortly. Thanks very much.